I just come from a long line of bad men. It's not unusual, you know. Scratch the gilding from any royal family, and you're bound to find a seething mess of rapists, traitors, and mass murderers. Your ancestors were the same, sir. Difference is, mine were better at it. But enough about me. My viziers tell me the imperial coffers are at a low ebb, and so, with the greatest respect and humility, it falls to me to inform you of the forthcoming annexation of your lands. No doubt my ignoble diplomats stand before you even now, proud in their jeweled silk, paunchy and sallow skin from long excesses. Puffed like winter birds, they will strut and preen, demanding tribute for their terrible master, and threatening dire retribution should you demur. It might interest you to know that also, like birds, it pleases me to fit the windows of their manses and high towers with golden bars, easily broken, and yet none shows so much as a scratch. Better to be a slave in heaven? Isn't that what they always say? Feel free to execute them. I have too many ministers, and to be honest, they more than deserve it. All I ask is that you do me the courtesy of returning their heads, along with a note about how you will never submit to the empire of weeping skulls. I know I'm not fond of that name either, but it's something of a tradition here, like marrying brother to sister, or tallow binding the children of our defeated foes into the palace lamps. Well, that's not really a tradition so much, dear boy, as a matter of efficiency. The innocents do burn the brightest after all. But I digress. No doubt you're feeling somewhat out of sorts. Feel free to insult me, my ancestry, the Empire, close your borders, strengthen your defenses, execute suspected spies and traitors. I can give you the names of more than a few. Even send heroes to defeat me. Really, a very good assassination attempt would take a lot of the pressure off, don't you think? And don't worry, I'll make sure to have a few of your loved ones killed to put us on even footing. My armies have been gathering for years, but I think you'll agree, these things flow so much better with some manner of inciting incident. Speaking of my armies, and you're going to love this, sir. Remember noble Uliashtai? Ranks of tall, grim warriors, high helms and shields bearing the sigil of the Grey Tower. How many generations did they stand alone like a sea cliff against the breaking tide of imperial dominion? Proud men and women, how it cut them to beg you on their knees for aid, and I understand your reluctance. You had your own problems, sir. Rebels, bandits, pretenders, a wild tangle of impatient heirs plotting your death. The Empire was a distant bogeyman, a threat for another day, another generation. You've probably forgotten all about Uliashtai. Well, they have not forgotten you. Their warriors fight just as well for the Weeping Skull as they did against me. Better even, now that I've given them health care and retirement options. I know it's not really my place to give advice, but have you considered allying against me? Although I'll make my conquest a bit more difficult, I can't help but feel you'll be better for setting aside those specters of vengeance that have haunted your diplomacy for all of these years. Does it really matter whose great-uncle killed whose second cousin once removed? I'm almost certainly going to torture, disembowel, then slowly impale your entire extended family. Sorry I had to say that. People have certain expectations of a tyrant, but I don't need to tell you. Don't surrender, sir, unless you really mean it. I much prefer the honesty of agonized screams to horrified deference. I could promise you wealth, power, glory beyond your most reasonable dreams. But we both know that you won't sway that way. Even if it did, I wouldn't really want someone so easily purchased, would you? In fact, I'm a bit curious as to why you're still reading this. I would think we're far past the point any noble ruler would have cast this parchment away in disgust and ordered their best armor aired out. Well, go on. I've got a whole footnote set aside for you in the Imperial Histories. I'll try to see to it that this particular page is inscribed on your flensed skin, but I'm not making any promises. Still, it's the least I can do in exchange for the generous gift of a nice long moment of your time. Yours in rule, although not for much longer, X. Oh, P.S. Of course, this paper is covered in contact poison.